Hey guys, what I wanted to do today was to just go over this XML whiteboard coding problem that was presented to me during an interview. Alright, so if I were to sum it up, this whiteboard coding exercise in a couple of words, it will be referencing XML data and creating objects. So the first thing that I was asked was to create an XML that keeps track of criminal info. So this is how I went about writing this XML. So first of all, we have the root element, which would be criminal info, opening and closing tags, and inside this criminal info is going to be information associated with that criminal, such as the criminal name, the address, the charges that were brought up against this criminal, as well as each charge here. And then we have the attorneys down here in this attorneys tag, which are pretty much going to consist of the attorneys that are representing this criminal within the court of law. And that was the first thing that I was asked to do. The next thing, create an XML describing the attorney. Alright, so as you can see here, we have the criminal info once again, and what we want to do is create an XML that describes the individual attorney. Alright, so this is what I wrote. Alright, so we have our attorney tag, which is a root element. It consists of the attorney name, the experience that this attorney has, the school he graduated from, as well as the case status. It just is a tag that consists of the number of cases that the attorney won compared against the number of cases that a specific attorney has lost. So that was simple too. I was then asked, how would you reference attorney info from the attorney XML? How would you go about doing that? Well, when I look at the two pieces of XML that I've constructed, I noticed that here in the criminal info, there's an attorney named Bill Lincoln, and I also had an attorney here in my new attorney called Bill Lincoln, and now I have to figure out how would I structure this XML for attorney reference. So instead of just saying Bill Lincoln, how would I reference this information about Bill Lincoln? How would I do that? Now, one thing to realize is that when you're working with XML, you can look at them at XML like tables. So when you're working with databases, you have tables, and there's one way that those two tables can be joined together through a primary key that through a foreign key that points to the primary key of another table. And when it comes to XML, you can do just that. You can connect or reference a particular element within XML through some type of key. And this is what I want to do. I want to take the attorney Bill Lincoln and link him to, so I want to take this attorney here, Bill Lincoln, and link him to this attorney here. Now I have to figure out how to do that. Alright, so this is how I will go about doing it. So during that interview, I wasn't 100% sure of how to do it, but after doing some research, coming home and really just understanding it, it makes a whole lot more sense now. So we have this criminal info. Inside this criminal info, there is this attorneys tag, and then what I've done here was create a reference. This ref tag is used to refer to another element. So let's just say this attorneys is somewhere in this criminal, somewhere in here, and let's just say, yeah, somewhere in the same XML, and basically I want to reference this attorney here. So this ref attorney is basically going to point to this attorney element that we have here, the data colon attorney element that we have here. And now I'm referencing attorney 1, and as you can see, the attorney, data colon attorney is in this particular tag. So I'm going ref attorney and then ref equals 1. So I'm referring to this attorney, and therefore whenever attorneys is called, you can go right into this element here and then retrieve each piece of data that this attorney references, just like that. And the same goes for attorney reference equals 2. This is attorney number 2. This is his name, experience, and all this information associated with attorney 2. So that's how you would go about referencing information in different parts of XML. So the next thing I was asked was to write a function returning an array list of all charges from criminal info. So first of all, what you need to realize is that when you're working with XML, it can be referred to as objects. So this criminal info up here can be referred to as an object, because with an object you're able to create an object and then reference information within that object, such as methods, data members, properties, or anything like that, and things like that. But basically, when we're working with this XML, and if you wanted to refer to it as an object, more than likely we will probably be dealing with properties or information about object, more than likely than, I guess, more than likely than just methods. So what I've done here was I created a criminal info object here, right? And I created a method called getAllCharges. Now this getAllCharges is going to have a return type of ArrayList string. And the reason why we have that is because inside of charges we have this is pretty much an array list. So if you have charges here and then you have multiple charge here, then all these are going to be elements inside this charges array list. So in order to get all charges or return an array list of all of the charges, we would simply just pass in the criminal info. And I forgot to explain this criminal info, this is actually set to some type of implementation that parses XML to objects of type criminal info. Alright, so we're going to take our criminal info, pass it within this method. This method is going to take in a criminal info object and then is going to call the method getCharges. And this getCharges is going to return an array list of strings, since each one of the charges in here are strings. So it's just going to return the entire array list of strings. And that's how you would go about writing a function to return an array list of all charges from criminal info. And this brings us to the end of the video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video if you've learned something here. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one.